Thank you, Tom, for joining us tonight, this evening. The first category of questions we're going to talk about is the economy. The first question I have for you is, how do you see your role as our state representative when it comes to our county's economy?
First of all, Charles, thank you. I want to thank the advocate for giving us the opportunity to speak to the people, and Claudia from the chamber. I'd like to say that I've got a full endorsement from the Kentucky Chamber. That's a sign of my voting record and that I'm proud of. But the one I'm most proud of, I've got several endorsements, was Right to Life. And I wanted to get that out to let you know that's probably not something you got in discussion tonight, but Right to Life is important to me. We see a lot of movement on the federal side, and I think we're going to have an opportunity to overturn Roe versus Wade, and that gives hope for these babies, and I just want to get that out. A role of representative, the way I look at it, is that I'm one vote up there out of 100, but I feel like that I represent the 47,000 that's in my district. And when I think about a vote, I think about how is it going to affect everybody in my district. You can't please everybody. I'm not going to get 100% approval rating, and I'll be lucky to probably get over a 60 or 50. I hope I get the majority, because that's what I try to look after up there in Frankfort. The legislative role, I feel like, is a liaison between state government and your local government. And that includes your city council and your fiscal court. And I've tried to make myself available to both of them. I've tried to listen to their needs, and I tried to find out what they were wanting. I had early meetings before we went into session to find out what they had on their agenda, and we tried to come up with different projects that we felt like would benefit the county and would make the largest impact. So I feel like a legislator is a liaison, and that I'm there to represent your needs of the community and try to do the best I can on letting them know that Knox and the 86th district, I got part of Laurel, that we are here and we deserve a fair share.
Okay. What do you plan to do as state representative to see Knox County move forward?
You know, believe it or not, I've seen a lot of changes over the last few years that I believe is going in the right direction. Are we there? No, I think there's always things that we can continue to do, but I see changes in needs in the water district in West Knox. We were able to get funding to get that started, working with the fiscal court and the judge. We found pots of money to get that going. In today's time, Charles, I don't believe there should be a house without fresh water. And we're making an emphasis on fiber. Well, fresh water should be a no-brainer. It should be in every household in Knox County. And West Knox has had issues, not because of their self or the operations, just over time. It's depleted, and they're still taking water out of the river, and they're having a hard time cleaning it. There's a game plan in place that I'm excited about. That's the infrastructure part. The roads, I believe we've got a lot of good projects coming to the area. I worked with the thoroughbred industry to get the track in Corbin. A lot of people may not agree that that's a good thing for the area. I do. I think anytime that we can bring tourism, bring people to our area, every business is going to benefit from it. If we bring in 2,000 or 3,000 people a day, the restaurants are going to do better, the gas stations are going to do better, our business will thrive, and jobs come to the area. And then they're predicting starting out with 200 to 300 permanent, then goes up to 1,200 over some time. That's an impact. And so I think we're doing a lot of things right to move forward. And my part in that is finding ways to fund it, try to get our dollars back that we send to Frankfort, work with Congressman Rogers on the federal level to make sure we don't miss any areas for funding. But I feel like there's a lot of good things moving in the right direction at this point.
Okay. What obstacles would you say do you feel stand in the way of Knox County becoming a stronger, more economically progressive county?
I think we have to look at Laurel County. How do they benefit so well? I think it's because of the transportation. I think they're a hub. They got 80 and 75 that connects there, and that just brings people, transportation brings people in. So I think transportation is going to be a big key in the future, working with our local areas. What hinders us a lot of times just personalities. People having a difference of opinion over years, and it festers. And the worst thing that local governments can do is not work together. Because I'll tell you that what will hinder them the most is one being against the other. And you won't see anything happen because people with the means to bring money in here, invest in here, they want it to be a positive move and not be something that they're coming into a hornet's nest over. So I think people make up what's important in our area for growth. So.
Okay. What plans, you've identified some obstacles. What plans do you think that you would have to help remove some of these obstacles?
Well, first thing I done when Corbin changed mayors to Ms. Rasmuth, Susie Rasmuth, I went and met with her over our occupational problem. That's been a hindrance in Knox County for years. It costs the county a lot of money. And it's not only just here, but across the state, there's several, and I filed a bill. Both sessions, I filed a bill to fix it. Has it been adopted? No, because it only affects a few counties, and a lot of them up there don't want to deal with occupation again. So it's a tough issue to get fixed. But I sat down with her, and you know what she told me? That she was willing to sit down and try to work it out. That was a blessing in its own self. So I've tried to bring people together, and I think that's the best thing that I can do as a representative of the people is to make sure that we all sit at a table, we get along. We've got great candidates running after the election. We all still need to be working to make Knox County the best place we can live in, no matter which side of it you end up on. I've been on both sides, and I can say that it's important that we continue working together and not trying to be an undercut or trying to undercut our local governments and try to put a hindrance to them. But I think it's about cooperation. It's what fixes it.
All right. As state representative, would your allegiance lie with the county and people you represent or your political party statewide? In other words, will you go against the grain if something truly suits Knox County better than it may do parts of the other state?
It's a prime example, charter schools. That one divided our caucus, divided the House of Representatives, and divided the Senate. It was a touchy vote, but I stood with our public schools. And was it tough on me? Yes, it was. It's tough to be looking at the other side of the aisle and you're on that side on a vote. But it had nothing to do with the Republican or Democrat. I felt like that our schools are good. We got great teachers. We got a great administration. We got a lot of positive things going for us. I don't think we need to bring in another school type of school district. And so I voted against it, and I stood with the public schools. That was one vote that was tough. So do I just go along with the fray and with the caucus or with the majority up there? No. I can probably go back and reference several votes that I voted against because I just didn't feel like it was a fit for Knox County or the 86th district. And I've been here for a long time. I ran business here for a long time, and I feel like I know people. And everybody in this room is pretty much close on social issues, on what they'd like to see in our county. So I have a good feel for where people are on a lot of votes. Does that mean that it makes it easier? No, I have to take a stand sometimes and go against the leadership up there. But again, I'll vote for what I think is best for the 86th district.
Okay. Do you pledge to work closely with our senator? When I say our senator, I mean Robert Stivers, and but also our U.S. Senators and representatives in bringing every opportunity possible to our region, and specifically to Knox County.
When I closed up here my jewelry store in 2003, I can't believe it's been 20 years, I went into doing consulting work, and one thing I'd done was work with federal and state funding for projects. I've had a great relationship with Congressman Rogers since he's been in office. We're not only work on different issues together, but we're friends. And Senator McConnell, I feel like I've got a good rapport with him in discussions. But going back to President Stivers, I've been with him since the first day he ran for office and supported him. Not saying that should make the difference, but to say I know him. And we don't always agree on issues up there, and we vote differently. But one thing that we do work on is what's best for this area. And Knox County is part of his district, and we talk about what the needs are, and I've got a good rapport with them. And it does help having the president of the Senate at the table discussing things, because he is in position to make a lot of the decisions.
Tom, candidates run for office often with promises of transparency. And as a newspaper publisher, I believe in complete transparency of our government. In fact, it's one of the most important functions of a newspaper, one of our most important purposes, the reason we exist. There's been efforts over the years for legislators to try to shackle some of what newspapers can do, or any media, not just newspapers. But you pledge to keep an open line of communication with your local media, not just the Mountain Advocate, but with other newspapers, other radio stations, television stations, as they call upon you.
The good part about that is that the Advocate's really the only one who reaches out to me. That's the good part. I had another paper that really, I felt like treated me wrong, and so I cut them off. I took them off my speed dial. Is that right? I felt like I was in my right, and they're in their right to do what they wanted. Is the media always fair? Typically, they try to be. I think they are on the majority side, but you still have those that want to try to sell news. So they make politicians the puppet, the easy shot, and we are easy shot at. I mean, it's easy to take a shot at a politician. But I will tell you this: one of the bills that I was in favor of that we put together up there, and this was during the pandemic. We funded and put money over to open up all of our committee meetings, all of our meetings to the public. We spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring in new equipment. That way it wouldn't be cut off to the public, because the public wasn't allowed in the Capitol. So we still, and I feel like that's what is starting to answer part of your question. Are we willing to put it out there and put it out on the table? We did do that. We voted to do that. We spent the money to do that. And there's not really a lot of political people that would say, well, we've got an advantage now. Let's start discussing things that's not going to get out there. That would have been the time to do it, because there wasn't anybody around. But we opened it up, and you were able to go on your laptop and watch our meetings. And the public was allowed to. So transparency, I'm 100% for. Fairness in media, I hope you can control it. I'd like to turn it over to you. But in saying that, I think it's very important when we're making the decisions that we are, that the public knows what the discussions and how I got there. So.
All right. My last question for you this evening. Do you promise to maintain an open line of communication with your constituents?
I do, and I try to do that just basically by talking to people. I try to return calls. Sometimes I probably miss a lot. I'll just be honest with you when we're in session. But I try to get back to everybody. The biggest issue that I had when I was in session, first of all, it started January 5th. I can't drive 5 hours anymore. I used to be able to do that when I was young, but I had to get a place up there, so I stayed Monday through Friday up there. And the biggest thing that I dealt with during this the pandemic was unemployment insurance. Kentucky was unfair to people in the unemployment, very unfair. We were trying to fix it. We tried opening more offices. That didn't help. And it just boiled down to us just running really bad. And we were getting the phone calls. I would call the cabinet, wouldn't get return calls. And so I felt really helpless. And on that end, on the unemployment, I felt really bad. I mean, I had a family member that was laid off, never has got their check. He was off for 5 months and found another job, but he never has received his. And it was cut out of his check and it was paid in. It's called insurance. It's there for you. And hopefully one day we appropriated money to go in there to fix that, to pay everybody. And hopefully it doesn't come in until July 1, but my hope is that everybody will get what they had coming, no matter if it's 2 years ago. They have that back pay and it belongs to them. But that was an issue that I had, Charlie. It was hard, really. So open dialogue to people. I hope everybody feels like they can talk to me, because I don't want to be unapproachable. I want to feel like if you have a need, I need to listen to you. I had a politician tell me this, Steve, several years ago, that if they drive from the head of Stinking Creek and to see you, and it takes 45 minutes to get there, you should give them 45 minutes of your time. And that's just the way I look at it. I believe if somebody has that big of a concern, and they take the time to come and see you, you're there to represent them, to listen to them. So that's the way I look at it. Charles, I do my best to try to talk to everybody.
All right, Tom. Take about a minute, and if you have any closing remarks.
I've taken enough time. I really appreciate Knox County for giving me the opportunity to go up there. And I'm not a lifer. I plan on staying until I feel like, I've done my best and I've done what I could for my area. I went up there with the one objective when I went was to get a vocational school. I was able to do that in our first term and to work with our local officials here. And then, but it followed behind a project that I had over at the, that I'd worked on over at the old nursing home, and that was the community college come in. Jobs are tough. There's still a lot of people that's not working, but landing a 400 or 500, a 200, whatever factory, that's not easy. It's not easy to go do. And I've watched that, and I've watched other areas get those. And I'm thinking, well, maybe we're not doing anything right. It's not that we're doing anything wrong. It's just that it's called demographics. It's where you're at and what's available. And so I decided to take a different approach. I started giving our kids options. And instead of going to college and coming out with 60, 70,000 in debt, I thought, let's give them a vocation. Let's give them a trade. And so we done that with the old hospital, with the nursing program. There's over 30 kids coming out of there every year they're being recruited. When we first started, they just going and getting jobs. Now they're waiting for them to come out of the door so they can hire them. We have over, I think it's 7,500 shortage in Kentucky in nurses. And so that, I started thinking about that and started talking to a few people. I said, why can't we do that in 4 or 5 other trades? Why can't we do that as a plumber, as an electrician, and as a welder? And so we've worked on it. It's coming together. And they're opening, I got a message today, August 1st, they're opening the community college. The high school's fixing to start the vocational school. I want our kids, and I've got 5 grandkids, I want them to find a good job here and be able to stay home. And I want to give everybody here's kids a chance to raise their families here. And I hope that's enough to give me another shot, and if it is, I'd appreciate it. And I honestly look at politics this way. It's the will of the people. And if they want me up there, they'll give me another shot. And if they don't, I got plenty to be doing right now. And but I do like having the opportunity, and I do want to go up there and work for you. I don't take it lightly. I take it seriously. So thank you, Charles, again. Thank the advocate and Claudia. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Tom.
All right.